Okay, I'm gonna do it. On your mark, get set, go.
Okay, you want to start?
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to Holy Chat.
Holy
I'm
chat.
Levi,
I'm Carlos.
and we're here today as we continue our conversation from the Barna study that we've been looking at together for a few episodes. This is the paper copy,
Paper.
the hard copy,
Yes.
and
It's
this.
kind of flimsy copy.
Well,
Yes.
cheap paper. We are a nonprofit after all.
Yes, and yes. Never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But this Barna study had talked about how there's a rise in interest and faith in Jesus, but a decline in trust in institutions. And today we're going to focus on the decline in trust in authority or even accountability.
Mm.
I'm passionate about this because I've experienced in my own life in
Mm-hmm.
the last few years,
Mm.
especially
Mm.
since COVID,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the biggest problem, and I've even heard my therapist say this or my coach say that. I've
Mm.
heard this over and over again from other people, so
Mm.
it's kind of being confirmed that this is an issue.
Mm.
It's the inability to handle conflict.
Mm. Mm.
People just don't seem to be able
Yeah.
anymore to disagree in a way that's constructive or productive. There's a lot of ghosting going on in culture right
Mm.
now where, well, you disagree with me and then you just
Mm.
disappear, or you text bomb someone like, hey, I'm not coming to church anymore, bye. And then you never talk to them again. There's none of that face to face, like, you hurt my feelings. Oh, I'm sorry. We don't do that anymore. We
Mm-hmm.
just kind of let go and run away from those conflicts. And similarly, authority or accountability can feel like conflict
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes authority or accountability is going to tell you something you don't want to hear or disagree with what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
or how you're living.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to me that as people see this belief in Jesus, my prayer and hope is that their belief in Jesus includes the idea that Jesus has some bit of authority or accountability to them, that he changes your life in a way that causes you to change your behaviors
Mm-hmm.
and your beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of where we wanted to go today with this idea of accountability and authority.
Right, and I think that to me well, I don't know if the reason, because that would be very very arrogant of
The
myself.
one
The
reason,
one reason that
the
is
single problem in the universe.
the young people. No, no, I think that one of the reasons, or I think from my perspective, what I'm seeing it is there's rugged individualism
Mm.
that has this rampant in
Teddy
our society.
Roosevelt.
Right?
He
Yes.
started it, jerk. But he also created national parks, so I
Yeah.
can't be too
Yeah.
angry with
Yeah.
him.
Useless fact segment.
Yeah.
But he wants you to visit them individually.
Right. And also, I think it's the teddy bear is because of him. Do you know
Jerk.
that story?
Yeah, he ruined everything. It
So,
was it was originally going to be the Teddy Tyrannosaurus Rex,
yeah,
which are very cuddly,
very cuddly.
but he ruined it for all of us.
Yeah, teddy bear.
Yeah.
Anywho, so I think that one of the reasons is this rugged individualism that, for lack of a better way to put it, is you're not gonna tell me what to do. I'm my own person type of thing,
Mm.
snap, snap type of thing.
Never do that again.
No, okay. We
That's
can
awesome.
delete this from.
No, leave it, but never do it again. I'll never be able to get that out of my
I,
mind.
I scar you for life.
Yeah, yes. You text me, snap, snap.
You're red.
I turn red when it's funny. Or not funny.
Embarrassing.
I hear what you're saying, though. Rugged individualism.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago we used to call this extended male adolescence, which
Okay.
was like basically people my age weren't growing up and were living in their parents' basement
Yeah.
playing video games, not having a significant other, like well into their 30s, right? But they weren't adulting, right?
Right.
And there is a little bit of a teenager sound in what you said, like don't tell me what to do, I do what I want,
Right.
Be nice.
And
And so yeah, that kind of individualism, that sovereignty over
mhm,
oneself, which
mhm.
there are healthy parts about that, right?
Well, yes, I
Yeah.
think that we all. I mean, I think adolescence is it's that part of when we're trying to figure out who we are as an individual, away from our parents, away from um, institutions, away from the school, away from everybody who tells us who we are and what we need to do and when do we need to be ready and why do we need to be ready, all those things. And adolescence is a time where You're trying to figure out who you are, your likes, your dislikes, and you start to push the boundaries around. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think even as and even I think that as you grow old, it is not static. I don't think that the person that you were
Right.
when you were 30, now that you are 33, is the same
Or
person, right?
only 33. Yeah.
So, with me, when I can see as well that I'm not the same person that I was when I was, 20 or 25 or 30. Keep getting older, but
But
um,
you stopped at
I,
30.
I
You
still,
keep
yeah.
stopping at 30. Hmm. Sneaky.
Uh-huh. So, it is not a bad thing to discover who you are later in life. There is ample studies as well that show that those who are mentally sharp and continue to, with less propensity for dementia and other things, is those who continue to learn things and continue to evolve who they are. And as
Yeah.
I said, it's not like, well, uh, sometimes we think of, well, you are an adolescent, you get to this point and then you plateau and that's the rest of your life. And that can be further from the truth. Um,
True.
so that is that. But what I think it is not healthy, it is that then uh, maybe it is this point. It is when is your individualism and then your individuality, who you are as a person, um, stops, and when the other begins. And I think there is
Yeah.
that conflict that again, my rights, your rights. You're not gonna tell me about my rights because it's kind of thing, and we are not good at uh, problem solving or conflict solving anymore. I agree with you, and I think that is also the other study. I mean, we're talking about a lot of our studies. I mean, we
Yeah.
are nerds.
We're nerds.
Nerd alert!
We love to read a good study. Give
Give
me
me
a good
stats.
study.
Give me
And I
stats.
don't just want the article, I want the data down in there that's like, I have some questions. Let
Yeah,
me deep
give
dive
me
this.
yes.
Yeah.
So the other one is the epidemic of loneliness.
Right. Which goes hand in hand with if you're always pushing people away,
Yeah, right.
you're going to be lonely, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one way
Yeah.
or the other, say, yeah, goodbye. So we are, yes, and it was or catapulted or exponentially growth after the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we are not growing healthy with within our communities and with others because then,
Right.
as I said, one, it is this rugged individualism that started a long time ago, but it has also expanded. And then we are because we are our own, then how can we relate with other?
Right.
And it is a complex thing, but I think it starts there. I think it is individualism.
It's interesting you say that, and I can see that kind of in the culture. Like America, really, the United States is very individualistic
Hmm.
in a way, and
Hmm.
even the churches in America have interpreted the scriptures, the Bible, very
Hmm.
individually,
Right.
even though most of the commands in scripture are plural.
Yeah.
They
We,
just
us,
didn't have the
you,
Southern English yet to say y'all.
y'all.
But when Paul says, bear one another's burdens, he's saying y'all bear one another's burdens. Like it's plural in nature,
Hmm.
almost every time.
Yeah.
I can't. I actually don't know of a time when it's singular unless Jesus is talking to a single person. But um,
Right.
so there's a communal
Hmm.
understanding
Hmm.
of Scripture that is missing in United States culture,
Hmm.
and I think that individualism is a big problem. Um, but because there is such a "don't tell me what to do" mentality,
Hmm.
young people these days
There's young people.
I think young people are wonderful, and you give me a lot of hope for the future.
Yes, I
But
agree.
I worry deeply about this one issue
Hmm.
because think of accountability this way. Maybe in the past you thought of it as a pastor saying, you have to live this way. You know, don't be gay, don't dance, don't drink, don't have tattoos, don't smoke, right? Yeah, just turn it off. Um, or at least don't tell anybody. Like just certain categories, right? Like don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. That was kind of your understanding of authority, or maybe a principal in the school that was
Hmm.
domineering, or a parent who
Hmm.
was very domineering.
Yeah.
Think of accountability and authority more like this, though. Most young people are more open to seeing a therapist.
Hmm.
Well, a therapist is a form of accountability.
Hmm.
Now, if you're not getting much out of therapy, it's probably because you're not letting that therapist push you to grow, to learn. You may not be telling them the whole story. But if you're really vulnerable with your therapist, they
Mm-hmm.
will often give you tools.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give you ideas about yourself
Mm-hmm.
to grow,
Mm-hmm.
to feel healthier.
Mm-hmm.
That's accountability. That's
Mm-hmm.
just two people working together to improve your livelihood, to improve
Mm-hmm.
your experience of
Mm-hmm.
life. And that same thing can happen in friendships. It
Mm-hmm.
can happen in a pastoral
Mm-hmm.
relationship or with a rabbi or a priest. It can happen in lots of relationships if they're healthy
Imam.
relationships. Yeah, an imam. There's lots of ways that you can have those relationships, but
Mm-hmm.
I have experienced personally that sometimes when people don't hear what they want to, they tend to
Mm-hmm.
withdraw a little bit,
Yeah.
and even more as the disagreement
Right.
grows, rather than lean in and say, well, why do you believe that, and why do you think that way,
Mm-hmm.
and engage in that
Mm-hmm.
accountability
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is easier to nowadays. It is easier to live in our own little world if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to. But again, it just goes to that loneliness part. Um, and there was an quoting another article
There's a study.
study.
Hi, baby bear.
Hi, do you know what the Sesame Street word of the day is?
Yes.
This is an article that
There's an article.
nerd, nerd,
He'll
nerd.
add some special effects.
Yes, article. Um, yes,
Please.
when the a thesis by a this writer says that why did we got mean to each other,
Mm.
and you can go with the technology that it makes us
Mm.
separated and we can do our own thing. He
Mm-hmm.
gives many theses as to why, but he says that the main one for according to him it is that we have lost that in the after the 40s we lost, and I think it goes hand in hand with our previous podcast. We're talking about these transcendental
Mm-hmm.
values.
Yeah.
That as a nation we do not talk about moral as an absolutes anymore. That there is that now morality, good and bad, depends on which group you are in.
Oh.
So if you are in a certain group, then you are right, and if you are in a certain group, you are wrong. And then there is not this absolute that something is right and something is wrong, and we forgot to teach that. So therefore,
Hmm.
there's these camps. So therefore, we are isolating ourselves. Therefore, we cannot argue not in a way of arguing as a constructive one, but we fight with each other. And so that
Interesting.
the idea is not to create a relationship. The idea is to win.
Yeah. So you're saying that instead of us defining right and wrong by like this behavior is right, this behavior is wrong, it's because you're in that group, you're right
You're
or
right.
wrong.
Yeah.
So
Just
it's
think about
it's your
politics.
affiliation,
Yeah.
politics, religion,
hmm
whatever,
Whatever.
social stuff.
Yeah.
That's interesting, but it makes a lot of sense. It's that tribalism that
hmm
comes through, and
hmm
if you're open to following Jesus, you're thinking about following Jesus. Let me just say this: tribe is a good thing, and you need a tribe. You
Yes.
need a you need a place of belonging. You need
hmm
a community.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I think video games are awesome, but your gaming community is not your community you need for your own mental and emotional health. You need to see physical humans in real life that you can touch, that you can hold their hand, you can see them smile, you can cry together, you can smell their cologne, like you need real earthy humus humans, people to be with, right?
Stop and
And
smell the hummus. No.
yeah. But you need that in your life, right? And so tribe is good, tribalism is bad, which
hmm
is when your tribe becomes about protecting itself and
hmm
hurting outsiders or others.
hmm
A healthy tribe is about including more, growing and more inclusion and more growth. An unhealthy tribe is one that's keep out.
hmm
This is our club, nobody else is allowed. And so you really want to think about, what tribe do I really want to belong to that would be healthy and provide that accountability, because accountability in my life is important. If I had zero accountability, I'd probably weigh 400 pounds. I'm being honest. I'd probably never stop watching streaming shows on TV. I would binge watch Frasier all day long. I need accountability, in my life to really make things make sense and to keep me healthy,
Yes.
right? To
Yeah.
keep me healthy.
Yeah.
And different people have different levels of self control. I have a lot of self control in some areas of my life and none in others where I need that accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have a virtual tribe, it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah,
It's
it's good.
fine.
It's good.
But I will also say find at least two other. I bet that you can find two, three other guys or ladies or mixed group, whatever it is, another tribe, physical tribe. I mean, it is important. And as a gamer myself, I do crave and like to be with
Yeah.
other, nerds and things. But yes, I think and I think that is ultimately what we are inviting, that it is to have this tribe, community, uh, faith group that helps you to be the best person that you can be, and again, not only a good person, but to
Mm-hmm.
grow into that what we call the image of God, and it is the transcendent thing that it is that you love more compassionately, that you seek mercy, that you are leaning toward justice, that you seek to invite others into these things that you cannot explain.
Right.
Because I have, as a faith person, and not forget about leadership, forget about anything else. It is just something that has happened to me that I cannot explain. Uh, Experiences, mystical experiences, um,
Mm-hmm.
things that I cannot be explained, strength that comes that I don't have, and I know that I don't have, peace,
Mm-hmm.
certainty, and peace not meaning a peace of this is not conflict, but peace within me that is
Mm-hmm.
that what comes sooner or later I can figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So all these things that cannot be explained, cannot be found in in the wild, if you will,
Yeah.
uh, come through faith and are affirmed in a group
Mm-hmm.
and and are not only affirmed but also tested, if you will, not in a bad way,
Yeah.
through accountability,
Maybe
right?
maybe everybody's had this experience or something like it where you start dating somebody and all of your friends are saying don't do it. But you're like, no, I'm really gonna do it. Like I'm really gonna date this person because
Right.
they all said don't do it. And then you always find out they were right. Like
Mhm.
every single time, right? Because when you're in love, you can't help but be blind to the pitfalls, the dangers that lie ahead. And all your friends who love you and care about you are like, we see the warning signs, the lights
Quack,
are
quack,
flashing
quack.
red, like don't do this. So that's a way to think about why this accountability is good.
Mhm.
Sometimes they'll tell you things you don't want to hear,
Mhm.
but they're for your own benefit, for your own health, for your own good. And as you read more about Jesus, he's going to say some things sometimes you're like, dang, really?
Mhm.
Sell all my possessions,
Mhm.
to one person, no place to lay your head,
Mhm.
basically giving up. Like my real father and mother and brothers and
Mhm.
sisters are the ones that serve with me and
Mhm.
follow me in the world, not my biological family. Like there's some hard teachings of
Mhm.
Jesus, not to be literal about them, but they're to reckon with, to
Mhm.
meditate on. And so Jesus pushes you and
Mhm.
challenges you
Mhm.
in ways you could never imagine. Should my financial priorities be what they are?
Mhm.
Should my relationship priorities be what they are? My political priorities.
Mhm.
Jesus will uproot
Mhm.
all of that in your life.
Mhm.
So if you're interested in Jesus, get ready for some accountability and some authority. Because that same great commission that says, go and make disciples, Jesus says, all authority has been given to me.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's a big claim, y'all. So,
Just saying.
yeah, just saying. Just saying. Brenda say that? Google it. You'll figure it out. All right. Officially out of time, Carlos.
That was easy.
Yes, it was.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.